Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today on Masechtas Gittin daf Nun Tes. We're going to begin the last two words on Nun Chesamad Beis, going to Nun Tesamad Aleph. Omer Rav, Ana Havoy Biminyana de Be Rabbi. I was part of the counting of Rabbi, says Rashi, Ba'isa Minyan, Shetiknu Shekol Kodem Likach Zacha, Uminoy, and from he, and among that, Didi Manu Bereisha. He counted me first. Says Rashi, V'hu haya beinani lo min ha'gedolim v'lo min ha'katanim. He was average. He was not among the gedolim and the katanim. But anantanan dini mamnis v'taharis v'tumas maschilin min ha'gadol. So how could it be that you start from this guy? You're supposed to start from the gadol. V'din nefashos maschilin min ha'sad. And when it comes to the nefashos, you start literally from the side, says Rashi, min ha'katanim, from the lower of Min Gadol. So if we're dealing with Dini Mamonis, so why didn't he start Min Gadol? So Amarabba, Bereda Rav, and Veitem Rav Hill, Bereda Rav, Velas, Shani Min Yonda de Bei Rabbi. It's different when it came to the counting here, Dukuhu Minyan Nihu Min Tzad Habi, where all of our votes are considered to be like the bottom. Maschilin, that's how to begin. V'yom Rabbi Bereda Rav, Veitem Rabbi Hill, Bereda Rav Valos. Moshe Rabbi, from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu until Rabbi lo matzinu Torah gedul b'makam echad. I never found Torah in greatness in one place. I v'lo havi Yoshua havi Elazar. So Elazar was also there at the time. I havi Elazar. So after Yoshua died, havi Pinchas, havi Zakanim, havi Shaul. Havi Shmuel, he was there. V'laha nach nafshe kul shnei kamrinan v'havi David. So how about David? So havi Ira ha Yairi. There was Ira hari Iri. It says Rashi regarding Shaul gadol b'Torah haya el shalima l'lacherim. Just didn't teach other people. Okay. Av hanach nafshe the Shmuel kodim Shaul. So where it said, well, we know that Shmuel, that he died before. Okay, fine. So, v'hanach nafshi kulhu shnei bein. V'hanach nafshi kulhu shnei beinan. He did all his years. Havi Shlomo, havi Shimi ben Gera, Katla. He was killed. Kulhu shnei kamrinan. We're talking about all of his years. It says Rashi, Misha Amad b'gedul, from the time he stood to greatness, Teitar gedul b'makam echad. He was not a Yachid in Torah at that time. Okay. Vaiter v'havi Chizkiah. So havi Shevna ha Iktil, he was killed. Kuhu Shnei Kamrina. Havi Ezra, havi Nehemiah ben Chachiloi. Amar Rav Acha b'Rei Rava Afani Yomer Semi Mos Rebbe v'Ad Rav Ashi. Until Rav Ashi lo matzinu Torah gedula b'makam echad. Did not find Torah and gedula in one place. V'lo v'havi Huna bar Nasan, Shani bar Nasan, the mechav havi kaif leu Rav Ashi. He used to bend to him. Okay. Says the next Mishnah, Mas Nisan. Chayreish, when it comes to someone who's a deaf mute, regarding kinyanim, roimes v'nirbans, he can make gestures with his hands, and that will be sufficient in order to be able to make a kinyan. He could even move his lips, and that will work regarding metaltalin. Says Rashi, metaltalin, then it would work. And then the Mishnah concludes, hapuutais katanim mechach umachon mecher b'metaltalin. We say it's a good purchasing, good buying and selling, but it's dafka by metaltalin, not by carcass. It says the Gemara, machlokas b'metaltalin. Actually, the machlokas is my matatla, but Gittin, when it comes to Gittin, says Rashi, the karmel and cherish shenasa mission nischaresh. If a cherish who got married, imratzel haitzi yaitzi, he could divorce. Kishem shekanas bermiza kach maitzi bermiza. As the Gemara Nevam says, that just like you can enter a marriage with hints, so too that's how you can exit with hints. Okay. So pshita b'matalton tanamad tema av b'matalton kamashimon. Igad Yarmi Omer Rav Nachman Kamachlok Zim Matalton Kach Malchus Begittin. I have another Matalton Tanan. Aim Af Matalton. Okay. Hapautoi Smekach Mechach Umachon Mecher B'Matalton. Yad Kami Yad Kama. Until how far do we say this din? So Machmer Mihudel Rav Yitzchak Berei Kibar Shis Kibar Shev. Someone who's 6 or 7 years old, says Rashi. Okay, between 6 and 7. Rav Kahana Omer Kvar Shave, Kvar Tamni, 7 and 8. Pamasnisa Tana Kvar Tesha, Kvar Eser, 9 and 10. V'lo Pligi. Kol Chan V'chan Lefi Chorfei. It's all based on the sharpness of that child. The time of my Amar Rav Abba, Amar Yaakov, Amar Rav Yochanan Mishum K'nei Chayev. Says Rashi, Di'il Lav Zvine Zvine. If it wasn't a good sale. No one would give them food. No one would buy. He won't be able to buy food. Won't be able to sell food. So therefore, in order for them to survive, so we're lenient when it comes to pu'utois. The pasuk says, "Vayarmer la'asher al ha'meltacha." So this pasuk, as Rashi says, "B'yehu ksiv." Mishum Rabbi Abba Bar Yaakov Mishum Rabbi Yochanan Nakatla. So this pasuk says, "Hoitzi lavush." They take out clothing to all these people that worship Boil. So my meltacha, what does that mean? Vayomer, he said al asher hameltacha. What does it refer to? Rav Abba Bar Yaakov Rav Yochanan davar hanimlol v'nimtach. So this is referring to something that rolls and can be stretched out, referring to a garment. Rashi says this is big day pishn. Kiyos Rav Dimium Rav Yochanan Shiger or Bunyam ben Nunyam or Rabbi. They sent Bunyam ben Nunyam, which Rashi says Yisrael Asher Havi, who was a wealthy Jew, to Rabbi, and he sent Sivni v'chaymes salsala. He sent these like linen garments. Umal malah Sivni v'chaymes ki'am guza, that it was folded up, was like a nut, upalge and a half. The maguza salsala umalmala kipistaka, upalge the pistika. So it's very thin, fine linen that when it was folded up, it was the size of a nut. So my malmala, what is that? So davar hanimol benimtach. Again, this is some type of garment that can be rolled up and stretched out, a special garment. But te'unan ad kama. So until when? Rabbi Yonah, Rabbi Zera ad shtus, until 6 kigadol, just like an adult. Says Rashi, ad kama hadra, can it be returned? Ad shtus kana hakaino machzer oina yoisim shtus batam ekach. Now we know that there's a din that there's a din ona, that you can, if it's more than a 6th, then it's batal mekach. Okay, just like the din of an adult. Boya baye, matnasoi mai. This is question 7. What's the din when it comes to a matana? Says Rashi, but mataltalin mishum k'nei chayavu zvini in matana lo. Maybe the only time we say this din is only by a sale, because a person needs food to survive. But when it comes to him being able to makabel or give out a gift, maybe not. It causes goodwill among people, and therefore that's also maybe Kedei Chayev. So that's question 7. Boya bayi matnasoi mai, one of the stadim. So he said, "Do tiknu de meko mechach el mishum Kedei Chayev matana lav Kedei Chayev hi. Ol dem mishum de avdoi le nayech nafshe boilu mesav matana." You have to give gifts. So Rabbi Yema Omer ein matnasa matana. It's not a gift. Marba Ravashi Omer matnasa matana. It is a gift. So avchua v'shadrul kemei de Rav Mordechai Omer lezilu go and imru lebar mar lav hachi havi uv. This is not the situation. Ki havi koi mar chad kari ara the chad kari a darga. You had one foot on the ground and one on a step. You said it was a good gift. Achas matnas matnas shchimi, achas matnas bari, achas matnas maruba, achas matnas muetas. It's considered to be a good gift if he's wealthy, if it's a big gift or a small gift, if he's healthy or not. Okay. Let's see the next Mishnah. Eight Masti said, El Devarim Amru, these are the things that said, Memnei Dar Chashal. Kohen Kar Rishon. We want the Kohen to get the first Aliyah. That's the din. To avoid fights. V'achar of Levi, v'achar of Yisrael. That's the order. Kohen followed Levi, and Yisrael. Memnei Dar Chashal. Marvin Babayas Yashan, Memnei Dar Chashal. We also will be Marvin in a Bayas Yashan. What does this mean? B'nei Chatzar. People in the courtyard. Shragil and Litin Erev HaChatzar Babayas Echad. What they do, Eruv Chatzeros, you have to put the Erev in one of the houses. Ein Mishanin Es Min Kaiman. Don't change the place. Litin Babayas Echad to put in someone else's house. Memnei Dar Chashal. That's what it means. Okay, when it comes to making an Erev, Babayas Yashan, Memnei Dar Chashal. Because if Dar Chashal, that you shouldn't put it into like another house, right? Regarding it should remain in the same place. In Mishan and Asamakoy. Okay, we'll discuss that more when we get to the next stop. Fine. Nun Testament base. So then the Gemara says as follows. The Mishnah says, Borhu Karav Ama Mismale Borhu Karav Ama, says Rashi, Amas Hamayim. If you have this channel of water, Hamavia Mayim in Hanar, where water comes from the river, was sados, the fields, regil and lasos, boros, and you make these pits, she'im tivash ama, if the water channel gets dried up, so yimalu min habor, you can fill it up from the pit. V'yashku hasados, that's how you can get water for the fields. Margilin me ha'amul labor, and she'ismali, so you used to put the water into these pits until they got filled up. The tiknu chachamim shismalu bayrish b'sadais elyonos, that we'd fill up the upper ones. Shein kroivin l'moita ama, that they were closer. V'achar chimel hatachtoinim, then we'd fill up the bottom pits. Ukashu mimali soicher es ama ad shismale. So again, bor hu korab ama, when it comes to a pit which is closest to the water channel, mismali rishon, we used to fill that up first. Nidar cheshal. Says Rashi, Shalotehe machlokas b'neim, no one should be fighting. Ani eskarishon dahatakanta rabbanon hachiv yafil v'afal b'shein udin. So again, this way it'll be filled up properly, and no one's going to fight who gets to fill up their bore first. Mesudas chayis ba'oifos v'dagim yesh behem mishum gezel memnei dar chasham. If you have these nets, says Rashi, the midaraisa kol kama deloy matal yadei, until it didn't get into your hands, we'll have gezel. It's technically not gezel, but we consider it al darchei shalom, that it is considered to have a din gezel, so you can't touch any of these animals that are trapped. Rabbi Yossi Omer gezel gomer. It's actually real gezel, says Rashi. Gezel gomer b'devareim b'derabbanim b'nei darchei shalom. It's like it's a real kinyan. When it comes to the findings of a cher shed or a katan, yeshma mishum gezel. If you would take it from that's gezel, memdei chashal. Rav Yossi Omer gezel gomer. Again, we can say gezel gomer b'devareim. Ani hame nakef. If you have a poor person who's cutting off olives, barosha zayis mashe tachtav, anything that fell off and on the ground, gezel mipnei darchei shalom. No one could take these olives from him. Rabbi Yosef gezel gomer. Ein memachin biad aniyah v'kachavim. You cannot protest in the or take away from a poor v'kachavim b'lekashech v'pem mipnei darchei shalom. So if they take it, then that's it. Says the Gemara, Minan Mili. So how do we know this? Omer Rav Masna Diyomer Kra. The pasuk says Vayichtav. It says a circle there. It should be Diyomer Kra circle. Vayichtav Moshe Satara Hazois Vayitnes Kohanim Bnei Levi. So atu what? Anu lo Yodan. We don't know the Kohanim Bnei Levi. Ninhu. We don't know Kohanim are connected to the Shivat Levi. El Kayin Bereish V'Hada Levi. The pasuk is telling you that first you should have the Kohen, then afterwards the next person is the Levi. Yaviyatak Nafchaim or Mahacha. V'Nikshar Kohanim Bnei Levi. Atu what? Anan lo Yadin and Kohanim Bnei Levi. Ninhu. El Kayin Bereish V'Hada Levi. It's coming to, the pasuk says Kohen first and Levi. That's the order when it comes to an Aliyah. Ravashi or Mahacha. Bnei Amram Aharon u'Moshe v'yibadel Aharon l'haktishay Kodesh Kodashim, and they separated Aaron to be sanctified Kodesh Kodashim. Regarding any davar sheb'kedusha, that the Kohen comes first. Tana de Rabbi Shmuel v'kidashtoi l'chol davar sheb'kedusha with toyach rishain. They should open up first. Rashi says, "B'chol davar kavod ben b'torah ben b'yeshiva hu yadaber b'rosh." She always goes first. Umavarach rishain. He should say the bracha at a meal. V'litol mana yafa rishon. He should take the first portion. Armalei abayil Rav Yosef ben Derech Hashalom. So ben Derech Hashalom deraisa he. Derech Hashalom sounds like the Rabbanan. We're quoting all these psukim, which sounds like it's the deraisa. Armalei deraisa ben Derech Hashalom kol Torah kula nam ben Derech Hashalom. Derechsev derech noah v'chol nesivos Hashalom. So he said it's deraisa umim Derech Hashalom, and because of Derech Hashalom. So kol Torah kula nam ben Derech Hashalom. The entire Torah is Derech Hashalom. Derechsev derech noah v'chol nesivos Hashalom. El Omer Abaya Wikinamar. The sign Ishnayim Mamtinin Zelazabakaira. If you have two people are eating, so and one stops, so you should wait for the other. However, Shloish, if there are three people in Mamtinin, if you have three people there and one stops eating, the other two don't have to stop. Haboitseya, the one who is Rashi says Kohen Baal Habayis Shehu Mavarech Hamoitzi, Yafil Hu Katan, he should be the one who makes the bracha. Who poishit yadav tchila, he should stretch out his hands first to take the food from the pot to the pan to be able to dip, because he's the balabayas. The imba lachlei kavay l'rabbi amish gadol mimenu harashus biyadai. If he wants to give cover to someone else, that's fine. He could do so. Yomar Allah lo shana el basuda. The only time we say this is by a meal. Avul b'beisach neses lo the asul and suyim. When it comes to a shul, we don't say imba lachlei kavay harashus biyadai. But when it comes to a shul, it could lead to fights, and therefore, because of that, we don't say this. Says Rashi, the Kohen does not give honor to a Levi. A Levi does not give to Yisrael. The Lesu Sha'arel and Suye, because it can cause fights and arguments. So I'm a Yisrael, but I'm so choshev, I should get the first Aliyah. He always gets it first. Because the Derech Hashalom, we don't want him to start saying, yeah, let the Yisrael do it. So that will actually cause more problems. That's what it's referring to. That which we said, hello, that you can't give covet in the shul. That's on Shabbos and Yom Tov. To Shchichi Ram, because there's so many people there. But on a Monday, Thursday, when there's not so many people, it's not an issue. It says Taisus, they're so busy doing work. Not all people are in shul. People come to shul on Monday and Thursday just like Yom Tov. So where says Aini, you tell me there's a chil between Shabbos and Yom Tov versus all the other times like Monday and Thursday. Rav Huna, who is the Yisrael, Rashi says, Kari Kahani, he got the Kohen Aliyah, but Shabbos is Yom Tovim, even though there's a lot of people there. So I thought you weren't supposed to do that. But Shani Rav Huna, they feel Rav Amr, Rav Asi, Kahani, Chashivi, Eretz Yisrael. Even when it came to Rav Amr, Rav Asi, who Kohanim, very Chashiv, make of Hav Kaifile. Even they bent to him. We're dealing with Rav Huna, who is one of the greatest scholars of all time. So there was no issue for that honor to be given to him. No one would make that distinct. No one would think that would apply to others as well. Okay, Omer Abaya. Naktinan, we have the tradition that Ein Sham Kayin Nisparda Chavila. That if there's no Kayin, then we go back to the regular order, which means we give the honor to the first honor to Yisrael. If there's no Levi, Kari Kayin, then the Kohen gets the second Aliyah as well. He gets the first Aliyah and the You shouldn't have a kohen and then a second kohen because it's going to be a pagam of the first one. People are going to think that, oh, why are we calling up a second kohen? Must be because the first kohen was no good. So Levi achal Levi, that's a question. Levi achal Levi lo yikra mishum pagam shneihem. So it's the same problem. If you call a Levi after a Levi, then people are going to start questioning, gee, there must be something wrong with these guys. The Gemara says, Ki kamrinan ba'oisa kohen. You're right. If there's no Levi, we don't call up a second Kohen, because calling up a second Kohen would create a pagam in the Kohen. Instead, we say Bim Kohen Levi, and the Kohen gets the aliyah again. So Maishna Levi Achar Levi the Ika pagam shneim. How come we said when it comes to a Levi and another Levi, it's a pagam for both of them? Because one's not a Levi, so Kohen Achar Kohen Nami Yamrichad Minayu Lav Kohenu. We're going to say the one of them's not a Kohen. So Kigain the Moksaklan be Avua the high Sheni the Kohenhu. There's a chazaka that the Kohen who got the second aliyah, there's a Kohen, and the second guy who gets the aliyah, the second guy, everyone knows he's a Kohen. So therefore, we don't have to worry about him, but people are going to start spreading rumors about the first guy. That maybe he's not a valid Kohen. So Hakinam the Moksaklan be Avua the high Sheni the Levihu. Why don't we say the same thing? It's Levi Achar Levi. We're talking about the same situation where the second Levi everyone knows is a valid Levi. So what's the distinction? El Amri, people say Mamzeres or Nesina, that either a Mamzeres woman or Nesina, Netziv, married, Upasa Lazari, invalidated their seeds. So that's the problem with the Levi. So Hachinami Amri Garusha or Chalutza Nasiv Achlu Lazari. Why don't they say the same thing about the Kohen? It's the same legitimate potential issue that people would have rumors about. So Levi Mikahavi. So at the end, is there a Levi? What does that mean? So you wouldn't give him aliyah number 2 if he was a chol. You'd give him aliyah number 3. So number 2 is proof he isn't a pagam. So if it was a Levi after a Levi, so no one's going to have a question about the second guy in that situation. A Kohen after a Kohen, let's say. No one's going to have a question because obviously if you're giving him the second aliyah, he's not a chol. Because if it was a chol, then he would only get like the third aliyah. So the fact that he got the second aliyah is proof that he's fine. Uloman, if it's referring to the people that are there, hakachazule, they see, right? There's only 7 aliyahs. So he didn't need to do a makeup 8th aliyah for this bad Kohen. So it's obviously not for the people there because they'll figure out if there's really nothing wrong with him. El yoitzin. The problem is the people that left. It says Rashi, there's no problem with the first Kohen because everyone knows that it counted. The problem is that if someone went and only heard part of the Torah reading, then they left, and then they maybe will end up spreading rumors. Sholcha b'nei Galil Rav Chelba Yacharehem says Rashi, the Kohen v'Levi. After the Kohen v'Levi, as we continue Daf Samech Amud Aleph, Mi Kairin, who gets called up? In other words, after the first 2 aliyahs, who gets called up for aliyahs 3 through 7? So Habiyadi didn't know, which is kind of hard to understand. Like he doesn't go to shul. Also, Mishayla Rabbi Yitzchak Nafki asked this question. Amalei Acharein, when it comes to aliyahs 3 through 7, Karin Talmud Chacham Hamamunin Parnosin Al Tzibor. You should call up a Talmud Chacham, someone who is fit and for the Tzibor. Hamamunin Parnosin Al Tzibor. Says Rashi. Fine. V'achrein Talmud Chacham Aroyin Lemnoisim Parnosim Al Tzibor. Says Rashi. Eza Talmud Chacham Shiroi Limnoisu Parnes Al Tzibor. What Talmud Chacham is allowed to be supported? Kol Shishon Osa Devar Halacha B'chol Makam V'Oimra. You can ask any question, he'll say it. So first you ask someone who could be supported. Then a Talmud Chacham who is fit to be supported. Al Tzibor. V'achrein B'nei Talmud Chachamim Shaboisehen Mamunim Parnosim Al Tzibor. So then you call up the children of the Talmud Chacham. V'achreim Roshi Kinesiais. Then afterwards you can call up the heads of the shul. V'chol Adam and all people. Shalchol B'nei Gol Rav Chelboy Mahol Ikros B'chumashim. What is B'meis HaKnesses B'tzibor? What is the din of just Sefer Bereshis, not the whole Torah, is that something that can be done in shul? Says Rashi, what does that mean? B'chumashim sheish kaisel chamisha chumshin. They write all the 5 books. Kol chumash echad shalim asma. Each one separate. B'chol sefreim hayu b'megillah k'sefer Torah shalanu. So it's the Bereshis is that's it. It's like a scroll by itself. So is that acceptable? Do you actually have to have an entire Sefer Torah? So we'll have a biyadi. Asa shalo Rabbi Yitzchak Nafkel. We'll have a biyadi. Asa shalo Ben Midrasho Pashtu Mahadi Amar Rav Shimon Ben Nachman Rav Yochanan. He answered based on the following: Sefer Torah shechasu yuriachas in karin ba. If you have even one column that's missing, so then you can't read from it. So this is missing 4 Sfarim. So certainly shouldn't be able to read it publicly. Vlohi. That's not a raya. Hasam mechser b'milsei, hachalo mechser b'milsei. So one of them is missing things and one's not missing. So therefore the fact that it's not missing anything, maybe even though it's only one sefer, is enough. Rabbi Yosef Diamar Tevayu ein karim b'chomash v'eis hachneses mishum kavod tzibur. It's not done because of kavod tzibur. We don't read from such a Sefer Torah. Okay, let's stop there. So we're getting a little bit too far ahead of ourselves on the next stuff. Let's see maybe a couple of questions. Question 8. Kayin achar kayin lo yikra mishum pagma shel rishon. Levi achar Levi lo yikra mishum pagam shneihem. So my leka pagam de kayin sheni kamo be Levi sheni. Why is there no pagam by the second kayin? So he said we're talking about the muchsak lan ba'aviv the kayin who. Shehu Kayin v'chein b'Levi. We're talking about everyone knows that the second guy is definitely his father's a Kayin, and the second guy is definitely a Levi. V'bagam b'Levi shenihu shema nasa avim mamzeres. Maybe his father married a mamzeres and this chalel, and he became a chol. V'kari b'makam Yisrael, and he's reading in the place of Yisrael. Maybe he's getting the third aliyah of a Kayin. Im avim nasa mepsuli kahuna. If he was in fact getting, because it was Kayin Levi, right? So he's getting like the third aliyah, must be because there's something wrong with him. However, Kayin im aviv nasim absuli kahuna. If he was really puzzled, im ken b'makam Levi nami lo habikari. He wouldn't have gotten the second aliyah. A chol is not allowed to get the second aliyah. Al karchach Kayin kasherhu. He must be a good Kayin v'habagam berishan bilvad. Therefore, maybe the whole mistake, the whole problem was the first Kayin. Again, assuming that means that he, people came and then unfortunately left. Therefore, because of that, that's where the problem arose. Question TA 27. Let's see if he answers a much shorter answer. Ari the muksuk lon the aviv kayin. Right, that's another simpler, cleaner way of just saying that answer. Question TB 28. Im ein sham kayin nisparda hachavila. Keitza nohagin ladina. How do we do this? Kishin nisparda hachavila. When we go back, if there's no kohen. So he says, Rishain she'ein halevi kari klal. So Perish Rishon, Shein Halevi Kari Klal, that the Levi doesn't get anything. Perish Sheni, the Kari that the Levi could read, the Ein Sarach Lakdimu Yisrael, just doesn't have to get an honor before Yisrael. Adkan.